I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Courtside Soundoff podcast. Once again, I'm Josh Evanoff, as always, welcome by the one and only man of the hour, too sweet to be sour. It is future Jiu-Jitsu world champion, Angel Ortega. A lot of stuff to talk about this week, boys. There is no UFC, no Bellator on the docket. We got recaps to do, obviously. However, we do have a bunch of news. But before we can get into all that, we got to talk about two quick sponsors of the show, Rogue Energy and ELYXR. Rogue Energy keep me fueled up, keep me going throughout my day. No matter where I am, whether I am at the gym, I'm at home working, or I'm standing under a pavilion because my fucking concert that I was going to on Thursday was rained out. I'll be there no matter what. And, Rogue Energy keeps me there and keeps me going throughout my day no matter the situation. However, ELYXR, they'll go ahead and keep you really calm, help you chill out after a long day with their Delta 8, 9, and 10 products. Once again, code Soundoff for them to get 10% off and support the show. And for both of those, that's once again, code Soundoff at checkout. Angel, look, man, UFC Vegas 79 going down last Saturday night from the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'd say a very solid main card. Prelims were okay. Obviously, the main events featuring lightweights Mateusz Gamrot and Rafael Fiziev comes to a bit of a disappointing end. Just minutes into the second round. Rafael Fiziev hurts his knee, and that's basically it. It was a competitive first round. Traded some big shots. Rafael Fiziev obviously won the first round, but I don't think there's a whole lot to say about this one. Unfortunately, coming out of this, it is an injury loss for Fiziev. So what do you think about it, man?
I mean, just such a underwhelming way to end the night, right? After having, I'd say, a pretty strong main card, and for it to just end the way it did, especially when it was looking really good, and we had a relatively competitive first round. We saw some right hands left at a Gamrot, some jabs make their way through, and it was like, okay, there's a nice little, you're showing a new layer here that, he's never had like bad striking, but his bread and butter is his wrestling. His success will come in the wrestling department. And for it to end the way it did, it just sucked. It sucked for both guys. They both didn't get to show themselves and what they've been preparing for this fight. And there was a lot still there, and it was shaping up to potentially be a great 5-round fight, and we were prevented from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it really sucks. And it really sucks that fans were prevented. Because like we said, we were pretty psyched for this one. I mean, no, personally, at least so I was, man, like, Apex cards really don't get me jazzed anymore. I think, I try my best to go ahead and, hide my thoughts a lot of the time on the Apex, or at least not talk about it these days. But yeah, like, I don't really care that much, but I do care about this fight, and it's a damn shame that it went the way that it did. For Gamrot, man, if you had to take a guess, who do you want to see him fight next? Who do you think he will fight next? Taking a look at the UFC rankings. Obviously, he did lose to Gaethje this year, but outside of that, he still has not fought a lot of those top guys.
Man, I mean, the thing is, I just don't think they'll give him any of these top guys. I think that's the issue. Yeah. I think maybe logically moving forward, probably the loser of the upcoming title fight would make sense. So either Islam or Oliveira. I think Chandler would make sense, but it seems like he'll probably be waiting for Conor next year. And the Beneil fight just happened, and obviously Dustin's not going to be taking any. He's kind of stated his stance on what he's going to do going on forward in his career, and Justin's kind of waiting for his shot at the title here. So, yeah, I mean, Gamrot's just in a weird spot, and I don't think he'll fight down. I don't think he should fight down because I don't feel like it makes a lot of sense for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not wrong. We did kind of admittedly talk about this in the green room a little bit. I mean, Mateusz Gamrot he's a not fun fight for anybody to take. He's just outside the top 5. He's not a huge name. Unfortunately, I don't think he'll get a fight with Poirier, or he definitely won't get a fight with a guy like Chandler, or so on and so forth. He did lose to Dariush. It is unfortunate. It's just unfortunate and plus, even the wins that he had, like he had a split decision win where Jalen Turner came in on short notice, obviously, And then even this win over Fiziev would normally be awesome on paper, but it was as a result of an injury. I don't know who he'll fight next. I think he's going to have to probably fight back, which honestly sucks, but, it is what it is. For Fiziev, probably going to be out around a year. Maybe come back in early 2025, late 2024. Just a bit of a damn shame, man. I mean, this, like we said, this is shaping up to be an awesome fight. And I don't have too many takeaways, because of the way that it went. But Angel, it's alright though, because, if this fight didn't even happen, I think everybody would still be talking about Bryce Mitchell and Dan Ige. Dude, Bryce Mitchell's always been a wild guy. I mean, the first time I heard of Bryce Mitchell was like right after he got signed and he accidentally put his balls in a fucking, in a drill, he had that happen to him. But like, he's been getting kind of like progressively more crazy. And so he shows up for this one, his fight against Dan Ige, and with the Bible held up, screams freedom at the top of his lungs. He wins the fight. It was a competitive fight. We can talk about the scoring in a minute. Gets on the mic, starts talking about the evils of Satan. Asks Bisping and Ige to pray with him. I think Dan Ige did it anyway, but just a really weird night for Bryce Mitchell and Dan Ige. What did you think about this whole fight, man? I know some people actually did not like the scoring in this one. How'd you score it? What did you think about it?
Really? People didn't like the scoring in this one.
Yeah, some people thought that Dan Ige did enough damage to win 1 and 2.
I mean, I have to disagree there. I thought Bryce Mitchell won it, but what about you? What did you think? You didn't even give me your thought.
I gave him rounds 1 and 2. Yeah.
Who, Ige or Mitchell?
Ige.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I mean, if it's based on damage, I don't see how you can. I mean, Bryce Mitchell had a really good third round. I won't dispute that, but I mean, did he do anything besides get? I know he got a takedown near the end of round 1, and he got to mount and landed some strikes. But outside of that, he was getting pieced up in a similar case for round 2. So I mean, that was just my perspective. But it wasn't like it wasn't a robbery, and I had no problem with the decision, admittedly.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a shitty 10-8,
No, it wasn't like that. But yeah, I mean, if he gave the fight to Mitchell, I don't have an issue with it either way.
Yeah. I mean, funny enough, dude, I feel like most of the interest of this fight came after the fact rather than during the fight itself.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I think for Ige, a little unfortunate, right? Kind of, like I said, he's like right in the middle, but just can't be the guys right above him, Bryce Mitchell kind of sneaking his way through here, but it's, he's going to get to a point, I think, coming up in maybe some of his future fights against these higher ranked guys. Maybe he'll get away with 1 or 2, but definitely at the very top, I don't think his wrestling and his jiu-jitsu will be everything that won't be able to take him the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
At least not at this point in time. He could, I think if he starts adding more to the arsenal, maybe putting some more things in there, it's not it's not an out of the realm of possibility. I think right now it's just you can tell that there needs to be a little bit more so, he could get even better results.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, look, dude, I mean, for Bryce Mitchell, this was obviously a big win for him, and like I said, I didn't think he deserved necessarily the nod, but if he would have given, like, scoring aside, right, man, he did not look any, like, if they would have reran that fight, for example, if they would have reran his loss to ELYXR, I think he would have just lost worse, you know what I mean? Like, he's a guy that, like, I really want to see him add more tools to the arsenal, like you said, but he just looks, I think it's like the opposite, man, like, he just looks rough out there, man, like, and obviously it was his first career loss to ELYXR last December. He took a lot of damage there. He spent nearly a year out of the cage. He was talking about retirement. He's I don't even want to get into all the conspiracies because he, like, how, like, sports aside for a minute, Angel, there's like 20% of, like, America now that just believes in every single conspiracy. You know what I mean? Bryce Mitchell's one of them, like, it's just, and, like, as for, like, his fighting career, it's like, damn, man, like, please just put down 4chan, man. Like, just don't go into the Telegram, don't go into the chat. Just focus.
Come on, Josh. You really think he uses 4chan? Let's be honest.
No, I know he's on Twitter. It's just you don't got to that's the old days. You used to have to go to like 4chan and like Reddit and crazy stuff to like see crazy shit. But now it's just all over Twitter. regardless, it's like, man, please, Bryce, I'm begging you, please stop talking about Flat Earth, man. Like, just go and take that attention and put it towards fighting, and you'll be so much better, you know? Admittedly, I was very disappointed in Bryce Mitchell. I had way higher hopes for him in this fight, but that was just kind of my thoughts on it, man. Admittedly, are you admittedly, maybe is it just me, or are you also a little bit concerned that Bryce Mitchell seems to be getting rapidly more crazy?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what this will peak at. I don't think he's crazy. I think this is just him, Josh.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you could definitely be a little bit crazy and still be you. I'm a little bit crazy, you know, and I know I'm me.
As long as he's not hurting anybody who isn't in a cage.
You're right. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. I hope he's doing well, man. I hope he's doing well, because I've been very concerned with Bryce Mitchell stuff, and very recently. You know, anyways, with that and the girlfriend stuff, and like, we talked about it briefly last week, and like the whole shopping cart in the rain, which no resolution, can't find that video now, by the way, Angel. I tried to look for it after the show. You remember that video of Bryce Mitchell just being out in the rain, like just randomly walking around with like a shopping cart? We talked about it last week. I can't find that video now. I don't know what happened to it, but disappointing.
It might have never even been real, Josh.
Oh, God. No, anyways. As far as the rest of the card goes, man, I mean, there's a couple of fights we can go ahead and talk about, a couple of very big performances. Which ones do you most want to talk about coming out of UFC Vegas 79?
Josh, you know, we should probably cut right here because your mic quality went down, like, significantly.
Do I sound fine now?
No. It sounds like it was like a little distorted there near the end. I think like right now would be a perfect spot to try to fix it though.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll just go ahead and cut it there, and then I'll go ahead and whatever. It'll be all right. In regards to the rest of UFC Vegas 79, Angel, what fights do you most want to talk about?
Oh man, let me see. I mean, Josh, you got to talk about the fight right below. But Marina Rodriguez beat Michelle Waterson like she owed her money. Yeah. Jesus. Some people had an issue with it going to the second round, which I can see. But it's going to sound crazy, Josh. I think the ref did try to look for an exit, though, with bringing in the doctor.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I mean, I hate to make the comparison, but is Michelle Waterson like the Tony Ferguson of women's MMA? I feel like I've just been watching her get repeatedly mugged for the last, 3 or 4 years now. And this fight was probably, this is probably one of the worst ass kickings I've ever seen in MMA. I mean, there wasn't a single isolated moment of this fight that was competitive, and it made it all the way into halfway through the second round. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it was a bit sad to watch. I mean, she officially, and she has been since her last fight, and now has a negative record in the UFC, Josh. She is now 6-8 overall in the UFC, losing her last 4. Yeah, dude. I mean, I think it's just time to hang it up. It sounds bad, but it just seems like it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
This was just kind of the not to use the phrase like this, but the icing on the cake, you know.
Yeah. I mean, just fucking craziness, man. And well, actually, one last thing I do want to go ahead and mention before I go ahead and move on. I mentioned earlier that Michelle Waterson, Angel, that she's kind of like the Tony Ferguson of MMA. You didn't really comment on that, but I thought that was a pretty good comparison. I want you to guess her current stretch, because it's much worse than you probably think.
Well, okay, I saw it not that long ago. I know she lost her last 4. She had a win before that, and I think a loss before that. So,
yeah, of her last, dude. It's like she has gone 1-7 in her last 8 fights. She lost to Rodriguez twice, Luana Puera, Amanda Lemos, Carlos Barza, and Joanna Jacek. And include some of those fights, the Joanna one was just a fucking mugging, and that Marina one was just a fucking mugging, dude. She did not retire post-fight, but apparently her daughter was crying in the first row, dude. This was a tough to watch night, man. For Michelle Waterson anyway. We said that with a loss she may retire, but she hasn't shown any interest.
Sometimes, Josh, these things just happen in MMA.
Shut the fuck up, man. You're busting out the Gus Johnson line, man.
Yeah, I had to, bro. I had to.
Sometimes, you know what's funny? Actually, I gotta say it. I gotta be the one to go ahead and say it. That was bullshit that everybody got mad at Gus Johnson for saying that. Because sometimes things like that actually just do happen in MMA.
Right?
Everybody was so mad at the time. I remember whenever that happened. Because,
you know something? If anything, I'm just disappointed we didn't get Malice in the Palace when Conor McGregor and Habib had that fucking fight. You know, post-fight, or when all that shit happened post-fight. Like, that shit should have gone chaotic, and it didn't. And I wish it did. I wish there was violence, goddamn.
I think that you're not remembering as clearly as you should, man. Like, I remember on that night, like, obviously the fighters didn't get into too many fights. Like, they got separated pretty quickly. I remember, like, the Irish fans and the Russian fans were fighting on the night of UFC 229. Like, I remember seeing street fights all over Twitter. Like, at the arena, leaving the arena.
No, bro. I wanted to see chaos, bro. Like, full-blown chaos. They couldn't stop it type chaos.
Yeah, exactly. But, yeah, that's my point, though, Angel. Like, everybody gave Gus Johnson that shit, but you know what? Like, sometimes these things happen in MMA, baby. That's just the way it goes.
Can you imagine if they would have dropped that line that night that Conor and Habib fought and all that shit happened, and they were just like, someone's just like, you know something? Fuck it. Sometimes these things just do happen in MMA.
Yeah, dude, I found the videos, dude. Like, there's compilations of fan street fights on the night of UFC 229. There's these Russian guys fighting these Conor fans right now. I'm sure you can imagine who's winning.
Oh, dude, the Irish fans must be killing it.
It looks like the Irish fans are currently, they have the numbers game, but they are not doing well.
Send me a link so I can watch this shit post.
It's just like how the fight was on UFC 229. It was just pure dominance from the Russian, you know.
Jesus.
But anyways, back to MMA, you know, because sometimes these things do happen. Brian Battle picked up a win. Dude, Brian Battle is a savage, man. Like, it's a very good possibility to come out of that tough season as the best guy. I mean, there's a couple of really good guys that come out of that season, though. What do you think about his win over AJ Fletcher?
It was good, man. Obviously tough for me because I have enjoyed AJ Fletcher's, or at least I've enjoyed kind of how his career's gone. And kind of how quick he picked it up, going from AMI, turning pro very quick, to the Contender Series, to the UFC. It's just been kind of a little rough once he's gotten into the UFC. For suffering a loss here against Brian Battle. Nothing to be ashamed of. Brian Battle's obviously game as fuck. But yeah, no, I mean, going into this fight, I knew there was a very good chance that Brian Battle could win this. I mean, AJ Fletcher's still 26 years old, has a decade, at least in this game, comes out of a good gym, has, Lafayette's very own Dustin Poirier's backing as well. I mean, he'll be back. He'll be fine. But it's definitely he is 1-3 now in the UFC. And his last win was against Themba, who we people probably know now because he showed his bank account like $10, $5, something like that before his fight, and then he just won his last fight earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just kind of that. Time to get to the next one, though. Charles Air Jourdain, welcoming Ricardo Ramos back to the UFC after what seemed a lot longer than what I thought, but it really wasn't of a layoff. Dude, a submission win from Charles Air Jourdain. What was the thing? What was the thing he said about GSP recently? Someone was. Dude, can you quote that for me?
It fucking killed me. Charles Jourdain. I love Charles Jourdain, dude. I'll always love me some Charles Jourdain. He was at Media Day and he was talking about how like it is to be a Canadian in MMA, and he was like, yeah, I'll listen to Canadian commentary or French commentary, excuse me, and they'll be like, yeah, he's good, but he's no GSP. It's like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah. Dude, I forget how young he is. He's only 27.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? He came to the UFC young in 2019. So he was in his early 20s way back when. Wow. Had no idea. Well, hey, man, if he can... He's kind of built himself up a little bit. Look, he might not be a high profile, he's not maybe Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier, just to give an example. But he's built like a whole little following, you know, with his own, just on him, on the way he fights, purely on fight. Not even so much, and not to say he doesn't have a good personality either, but not so much on his personality, but just him being an absolute fucking badass and going out there and putting on fucking bangers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is a win he needed too. Like Charles Jourdain, we talk about him, entertaining guy, young guy, like you said. And obviously he was coming off a win over Kron Gracie, one of the worst fights of the year though. Prior to that, he had lost 2 in a row. Like, this was the dominant, just go out there and just fucking dominate and get the finish. That's the type of win he needed going into UFC Vegas 79, and he got exactly that, dude. Very impressive. And if he can keep the momentum going, who knows, man? Like you mentioned, he's only 27. He's a former 2-division champion and fucking the TKO over there, that promotion. So,
by the way, I've literally never heard of that promotion.
Yo, you don't know? I want to say it's like a Canadian one.
Well, it doesn't. I just checked.
Or Quebec, you know.
I just checked. They had their last show in 2019.
Oh, well, R.I.P. to TKO MMA.
Sadly, it didn't even happen. Never mind, it got canceled. But it wasn't 2019. It was in May 2019.
It was around for like a long time, I want to say.
By the way, Gon fought on that. I think Gon fought on that right before it ended. He was 3-0.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
That was his last
Andre
fight.
Barriol fought there.
Yeah. That was his last fight before coming into the UFC. He won
yeah,
that.
if you look up their former champions list, they did have a lot of talent come through there over the years.
Taylor Lapilus was in there. Josh Hill. Yeah, there's some decently profiled guys right there.
Yeah.
Regardless, though, fuck, man, I'd like to see this man fight Alex Caceres next year, or at least someone right outside of the top 15. Because I feel like he's not that far from it, Josh. I feel like maybe, hopefully soon, he kind of starts going from fun action young fighter to potential contender. I mean, I think he has that potential within him. It's whether or not he unlocks it, lets it out, and strings the wins together, right?
I really think he's actually started to make that. I think he quietly made that decision probably after his 2-fight losing streak. I have no proof to back this up. I think after the loss to Nathaniel Wood, he probably did that. Because he could have he could have gotten wild with Kron Gracie, but instead he fought so disciplined that it was a terrible fight. And here was another one. He fought disciplined, but he got the sub win. He got the finish win. You know, I think he probably is making those adjustments already. You know,
he's finding that balance, right?
Yeah, he probably just hasn't spoken about it.
Yeah, we'll give it some time.
We will. I mean, in regards to the rest of UC Vegas 79, couple of big performances, man. On the prelims, I guess I should say. Which prelim fights do you want to talk about?
Dude, this one, right? Tim Means over his Andre Fiallo, Josh. I knew, and I mean, I fucking knew there was a possibility Tim Means could win this fight. I did not expect it to happen, though. The 39-year-old, almost 40-year-old Tim Means, 15-12 overall record at UFC, gets a finish win over the young Andre Fiallo, coming off a 3 losing streak. I mean, dude, this is veteranship at its fucking finest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. Fucking. It's a good day in MMA whenever Tim Means is able to do the damn thing. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be mad about Tim Means winning a fight. Like, he's one of those guys that is universally. I don't want to say beloved because I don't think he doesn't have the biggest fan base, but like whenever you see Tim Means coming up the fight, like, oh fuck yeah, dude, I love Tim Means. You know, like it's just. And that was the case here, dude. Like, this fight, we knew going into it could be a fucking banger. And, but I was not expecting the ease at which he got Andre Fiallo out of there, man. This sucks for Fiallo. I mean, that's his 4th loss in a row. You gotta think that's probably it. Maybe they'll give him one more, who knows? That might be it. But like you mentioned, super impressive from Tim Means. Miles Johns got an impressive win. You hate to see Cody Brundage and Jacob Malkoun ending in a DQ. That's probably going to go ahead and save Cody Brundage's job, though, you'd imagine. Because he was riding a 3-fight losing streak prior to that. I'd say the big dude, this fight was actually very controversial. Jake Collier versus Muhammad Usman on the prelims. Jake Collier was tuning him up in the first round. He gets eye-poked. Muhammad Usman turns the tie in rounds 2 and 3, ends up getting the unanimous decision win. What did you think about that one, man?
Yeah, no, I saw that. By the way, there's a little heat going into that one. Jake Collier telling him at the weigh-ins, your brother might be able to fight, but doesn't mean you can. I was like, oh, shit. All right.
I mean, well, what's his name wasn't shaking his hand, so he tried to talk his shit, and I'm like, you know what? Good for you, Jake Collier, you know?
Yeah, I mean, fuck. I try to remember this because I remember I came right into. I remember seeing the eye poke. I mean, yeah, the eye poke definitely changed the element of the fight. I mean, dude, anytime they happen, they do. Like, I don't think anybody can argue it unless it wasn't like a really bad eye poke. And granted, I mean, impossible to tell unless you're the person which ones are the really bad ones and which ones are the ones that didn't affect you much at all.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I mean, it definitely did. I mean, they always are. Like I said, to an extent, they at least slow down the rhythm of the game.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't understand. I mean, I don't want to get into it, but at the same time, like, dude, I'm so fucking tired of guys just because that changes the entire complexion of the fight. Like, it wasn't just a nothing eye poke, and obviously, like you said, unless you're the person, you can't really know how bad it was. But from the fucking replay, I knew how bad this one was, you know, and completely changed the complexion of the fight. Easily lost rounds 2 and 3. You know what I mean? And like, if he says I can't continue, it's just, I wish he would have, but at the same time, it's not like they took the point anyway. So it's so frustrating, to have that happen on like a weekly basis for somebody whenever. But
you know what would have happened though if they took a point, Josh? It would have ended in a draw.
Then that would have been better because Jake Collier doesn't have a job now. So
no, you're not wrong. Did he actually get cut? Or is he?
No, but 4 losses in a row is the sticking point these days.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Especially considering that they do their contracts in 4, so he's not going to get re-signed after that. So that's just, just fucked up. I love to see my girl Mizuki getting a win. Love to fucking see it, dude. 3 years out of the cage, comes back. She dropped Inoue, by the way. I'm not sure if you saw that. She dropped Inoue. She just goes by Mizuki now. And that's badass. So
that was interesting. I was like, what the fuck? But hey, man, to each their own, right?
Yeah, I love that. I love that shit. So she beat Hannah Goldie. Maybe it on her UFC career, but I don't know for sure. I mean, she's lost 2 in a row, 1 in 5 in the promotion. We'll have to see. Does have a lot of fans, has a very big fan base. I wonder why. And then opening up the main card, I don't even have anything to say about this fight, but Chris Levin,
making his judging debut.
Dude, the Crippler, one of the most entertaining fighters of all time. Maybe there's a good reason why we don't let fighters judge fights, man. He had 1 fight to judge, and he was the dissenting judge in this one, and I don't understand how he scored that fight for Vidal, but it is what it is. I mean, did you think that was even a...
Hey, man, at least it went the right way, man. That's all we say. As long as it goes the right way.
He'll get better at it.
Right? I mean, he could have been nervous. You never know. Maybe he had a bad angle. There's a number of factors, Josh. Yeah, it was his first one, right?
Yeah, it was his first UFC. He's judged a couple Bellator cards, and he judged a couple Cage Warriors cards. This is his first UFC one. Yeah,
he could have been nervous. Could have been, could have been a number of things, man. We gotta give him a chance,
Mm-hmm.
It's only one, we got guys judging every week who giving us fuck, you know what I mean? Like, if we can fucking, you know what I mean? We could give Chris Levin 1, when we've had these guys fucking doing all this bullshit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I think we could be a little civil here and give him a chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm hoping he can get another one. And honestly, I mean, these Apex cards are probably the best place to go ahead and get some reps, So yeah, I mean, I still got hope for fucking, the Crippler, man. I got a lot of hope. But anyways, man, we should go ahead and move on. We got some Bellator to recap. Admittedly, this probably be a shorter recap because, Angel, I'm not sure how much you saw this one. But in the main event of Bellator 299, Johnny Eblen picked up a knockout win over Fabian Edwards. Knockout in the 3rd round. This is a competitive fight. Johnny Eblen had his head, just took an absolute brutal cut. But he gets the knockout win in the 3rd round, proceeds to spit on Fabian Edwards, and nearly get into a fight with Leon Edwards post-fight.
He actually spit on him? I remember there was a lot of controversy behind that. Has there actually been an angle revealed, Josh, where there is visible spit?
I remember thinking at the time, it looks like he spits on him. And the coach for Leon and Fabian accused him of spitting on him. And so, I mean, it's just up to who do you believe? Do you believe Johnny Eblen, and it looks like he's spitting on him, and I don't think he's commented on it? Or do you believe Fabian Edwards and Leon Edwards and their coach who said that it happened? And, it looks like on video that he's doing it, but, obviously I guess you don't know if he's actually just mimicking it or if he's actually just talking, throwing a fat one at him, but, I mean, what'd you think about it? From what you saw, did you go through all the angles, Angel?
No, I didn't. I remember hearing about it. I didn't see it. I saw the finish. It's all over Twitter, but I was like, I didn't even know there was I heard on a podcast about the spitting situation, but I didn't know if it had actually been confirmed or not yet, if it did or did not happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, from what I see, it's not confirmed, but it's like, like it looks pretty bad. In regards to the fight itself, what'd you think about it? Any closing thoughts? Because admittedly, I don't believe you didn't see much of the rest of Bellator 299, did you?
No, but I need to, though. It looked like there was a lot of fun fights. There were certain results I did not expect, and I need to go check out, because I was like, what the fuck happened here? Regardless, though, I mean, Johnny Evelyn getting it done once again, Josh, putting himself in a conversation for one of the best middleweights on the planet. Did he go a lot to the wrestling? Did a lot in the striking department, and ended up winning, like that. Like, that's a dub. I mean, that's just kind of cool to see a guy find continuing to win in other ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I mean, he's the real deal. I mean, he might be the best guy outside of the UFC today. But you know what though? Like, we saw Patricio Pitbull come out and say that, like, if Bellator is merging with the PFL, I want to go to the UFC. I don't want to be in either. Johnny Eblin's one of those guys that I hope says it. I don't think he will. Because he also trained, like, for example, he trains with Sean Strickland. He trains with a couple of the UFC guys. So I wouldn't be surprised if he chooses. Well, I don't think he's a full-time training member of Sean's, but you know what I mean. I think he won't be that guy, but dude, I think Aaron Pico, like, if I had to pick one guy, Angel, I don't know if you agree with this, one guy from Bellator to UFC, it's Aaron Pico. He is, dude, in that co-main event, he looked so fucking good. Pedro Carvalho is a young dog, dude. I mean, 28. He's really hard to get out of there. He's not the top guy in the Bellator rankings, but he's inside the top 5, inside the top 10. Aaron Pico demolished him, and he's finally looking like the guy that years ago, all the way back in 2016, 2017, we were hoping that he's going to be. What did you think about his win?
I mean, another, a nice way to come back, especially after having the whole shoulder situation in his previous fight. And obviously, I know he had a win he got a fight before this. People, I think, forgot that happened. James Gonzalez earlier this year. Yeah. The whole situation with the Jeremy Kennedy thing, unfortunately, didn't get to show what he could do, and especially when he's coming into life now and kind of getting everything going, and he built this nice win streak over these past few years. And once again, gets it done against a guy Pedro Carvalho, who kind of picked it up a little bit, because he was also in a rough spot. He got one win in there against Mads Burnell. I think Mads Burnell didn't Mads Burnell pick up a win on this card too?
Yes, he did. He beat the shit out of Daniel Weichel, who then retired post-fight.
Yeah, and Pedro Carvalho has actually beat both those guys, so that, if that gives you any idea. So yeah, no, I mean, Aaron Pico's coming to life, man, Josh. I mean, he's right there for a title shot. I mean, there was really conversations about that in his when he was going into the Jeremy Kennedy fight. Like, he might fight for the title after this.
Mm-hmm. He should. If Bellator continues long enough for him to fight for the title, it has to happen. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Obviously, that remains to be seen. Probably won't happen, but it is what it is. Yeah, man, this was a solid Bellator 299 card. Like you mentioned, just to kind of recap, I know you said you didn't see a whole lot of it. Mads Burnell, that was a huge win. Daniel Weichel, his retirement doesn't really shock me. I mean, this guy's, going on around 60 fights. So, long-time Bellator veteran, though. Congrats on a hell of a career for him. Sabahu Masi, insane knockout loss in the opening fight on the card. Peter Queally fighting to a no contest. A lot of the Irish guys, it wasn't a good night. Sinead Kavanaugh loss. Peter Queally no contest. Charlie Ward knockout loss. Submission loss after getting dropped. Yeah, rough night for the Irish. But it was a fun card, and if you look at that card, it's pretty clear that Bellator is just trying to run out a lot of these contracts, because there was, over damn near 20 fights on the prelims alone. So
there was 20 fights total.
Yeah, there you go. 20 fights total. and fucking 16 of those were on prelims. So just crazy, man. Just absolutely crazy. Are you any closing thoughts on this one before you want to go ahead and move on to fan questions?
I mean, Josh, I know we're not there yet, but we will be talking about it here in a week. Dude, Bellator 300. It's on the verge. It's next week. I mean, we get the conclusion to the Grand Prix. We have a total, well, it is going to be a total of 4 title fights. 2 male, 2 female. Fair, right? We got to be, modern.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we're almost there. I mean, isn't that a little wild?
It is pretty crazy, dude. It is pretty crazy to think about. I mean, it's disappointing, admittedly. I mean, it's kind of, normally I love a card like this, but at the same time, it's just kind of sad now, Yeah. It's this could be the last one.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But I mean, they're going all out, Josh. I mean, they got most of the names they could bring. They got a lot of their young guys on there. And obviously a lot of talent in their main cards and even late in their prelims, Josh. So, I mean, I'm excited to talk about it next week.
Same, man. Very excited to talk about it next week. And coming at a good time, too. I mean, it's not like they have a whole lot to compete with that week, honestly. So, hope that Bellator 300 is a good one, man. But anyways, we do have fan questions. We put out the call on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram for some fans to go ahead and put some questions, some topics through. Because like I said at the top of the show, there is no UFC, there is no Bellator. We have a big boxing match, but there's only one, Normally sometimes there's like a couple in a weekend, only one big boxing match, and no real substantive MMA to talk about. We put out the call, and we got a couple of them back. First question, this one's from YouTube. Dream UFC 300 main card lineup. I'm assuming this is going to be 5 fights. And we've talked a bit, recently about UFC 300 anyway. But Angel, I guess, looking at the lay of the land right now, and they haven't announced any fights for UFC 300. It'd be around, I believe, May of 2024, if my math is correct. April or May of 2024. Depending on, my math, which is probably terrible. Didn't graduate college for a reason. But, Angel, 5 fights, man. We can just go one at a time, just trade back and forth. What do you think will end up being, realistically, the main event of UFC 300? Gun to your head right now.
I think it'll be 150, whoever the 155 champ is versus potentially Volk. Yeah, I think.
And that's obviously dependent on if he beats ELYXR Poirier in likely January.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on the same page. If you
it makes sense.
Yeah, it really does. And if you look at the rest of the division, not the rest of the division, the rest of the UFC, the only real guy that's called for it has been Volk. Izzy called for it, but he lost to Sean. And I don't think they'll put Sean Strickland on UFC 300. I'd be very shocked. Conor called for it, but he's got USADA, so, and I think he'll probably end up returning early 2024 if he does it all. So I think realistically, Makhachev Volk 2 will probably end up being it. Or, Angel, the other side of this, if Oliveira wins, I could see them doing Oliveira Makhachev 3 in the main event.
As a trilogy, yeah. I mean, it would make sense. 300, 3 trilogy, 101 apiece. You're not wrong.
Yeah, So I think regardless, I think we're going to see the lightweight title on the line. That being said, co-main event, dude. I mean, we said, we talked about this in the past, probably 3 title fights. Who do you think might be in the co-main, man?
Bantamweight. I think Sean would make a lot of sense on this fight. I mean, if they're not doing Cheeto, I mean, if that fight, I doubt, I mean, at this point with all the fights that are announced, I doubt we'll get Cheeto and Sean in December. But at the same time, we could get him early this year. It's weird, Josh, because Sean could fight before UFC 300, realistically.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be dumb if they do, but I think they should save him, honestly.
But yeah, that build up, those guys have history. I mean, that would be really good for UFC 300. Yeah, I mean, I'd say there would be a good co-main because there always go. That's the other thing, Josh. That's another thing we got to take into account. It always goes about weight classes.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that we never even talked about, Josh. I mean, if Jones doesn't retire after Stipe, let's say hypothetically, right, or however that fight ends, I wouldn't be surprised if we got John Jones at UFC 300.
Yeah, I would not be surprised either. If John chooses to fight, keep on fighting UFC 300 because he wanted to fight at UFC 200 because he fought in UFC 100, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, so maybe some little redemption there. Sergey Pavlovich, I know maybe not a big name, but John would be coming off potentially a big victory after Stipe. Or, if John is to lose against Stipe, rematch UFC 300, Stipe Jones. You know what I mean? There's a lot to build up on there. Another potential main event.
Admittedly, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
So that could be potentially the main event, Jones main event with X, and then 155 champ with X that we just named. Oh, man.
Yeah, I think if it's Jones, he'll headline, but admittedly, I think a lot of this just depends on, we're still, so far out, so it's hard to say. I think, we don't have to do a whole main card if we don't want, we know some of the people who will be on there, Jim Miller's going to be on there, 100%. Yeah. Against who? He said Matt Brown at welterweight is what he wants.
That'd be fun.
That'd be a lot of fun, and I don't see why.
If it's not Joe Lozon, it has to be Matt Brown.
Yeah, I want it to be another vet, and Matt Brown said he'd be down for it. Neither guy is booked. So, I think that fight, I think we're going to get not a freak show fight, but we're going to get another one of those fun fights that has no relevancy. Like UFC 200 had Brock Lesnar. I don't know who UFC 300 will have. It might even be Brock himself. I mean, because of the deal, the merger.
Well, Josh, depending what happens in December as well. I know I'm adding a lot of what ifs, what go down, but they play a factor because we're this is going to be next year. Colby Covington, Dustin Poirier, welterweight. It's
another big one. I thought about that fight too.
Just a money fight. Both guys benefit from it. Nothing to lose really. Shit. I mean, one that would probably trigger some people. Sean versus Izzy rematch, or Izzy versus someone on there. Izzy versus Rob trilogy. 300, you know what I mean? Yeah. I always got to bring it up.
Yo, I see what you're doing. I see you, Angel.
Brandon versus Figgy at 135. The 5, whatever 5 is.
Just fuck it, Oh, man. I mean, realistically, I think you're going to get some variation of Volk's going to be on there. I think there's a very good possibility that Izzy will be on there. Against who? I don't really necessarily know. And I think you're going to get a big name. I just don't know who. You're going to get not a freak show. Again, I almost call it a freak show, but a fun fight with no relevancy to rankings. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be, a fun card.
Josh, another one we're not even throwing out there. Chimaev.
That's another one. Yeah.
Chimaev, maybe Chimaev for the title. You never know. Maybe Chimaev come over 170. Return to 170. I don't know.
Oh, shit.
Be a little crazy,
I think we'll see the return of some people. I think Paul Felder is apparently going to come back. That's a rumor.
By the way, that one threw me for a loop, but that's our freak show fight there, Josh.
Yeah, you're right. Paul Felder versus Dustin Poirier, UFC 300. Let's fucking do it, dude.
Could you imagine?
I'm not even joking. I'm totally down for it.
DC versus John at heavyweight. The return of Daniel Cormier.
Fuck it,
Could you imagine? The trilogy at heavyweight. Oh, man.
Anyways, yeah. I mean, that's any closing thoughts, man? Any closing thoughts?
No, I mean, I think that's a good place. I think as far as that question, I thought there was some pretty good answers, some pretty realistic answers too.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Realistic answers.
It'll be fun looking back at this in a year, less than a year, whenever UFC 300 happens.
Yeah, it's Sean O'Malley versus fucking Volkanovski at featherweight to become double champ or something. I don't know, something crazy. Who knows? Anyways, man.
You mean Alex Mejia versus John Jones for the heavyweight title? Triple weight champ, Alex Mejia upon us. Could you imagine?
Jokes aside, if there's a guy that we've always said, if there was a guy who could potentially do it, become a 3-weight champion.
Realistically, now it's Alex Mejia because he's right on the verge. It's
Alex Mejia, yeah.
It's just because he's on the verge of it. That's a nice TikTok clip right there for you, Josh. Yeah. Alex Mejia could become a 3-weight champ. Clickbait.
He could. I mean, realistically, if there was a single guy in the UFC that had to become a 3-weight champion, it'd be Alex Pereira and nobody else. I mean, we'll talk about his fight announcement soon.
Holy shit, Josh! We just like opened a can of worms there because
I know.
I mean, if he has the win, he's built a relevant name. He would have power as a champ, and I'm sure if he campaigned for it, for him to get a heavyweight fight against John, it's not unrealistic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody's ever talked about this. This is fascinating to me now.
No, well, I mean, I don't think he'll do it though. I think that's just.
Oh no, I mean, definitely not. I mean, he's a long way to go and all that. But I mean, as far as like marketing wise, name wise, there's some potential there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair enough. There is some potential there if he ever chooses to pursue it. We'll have to see though. We'll have to see because he still has to win the light heavyweight title, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
soon. You know. Yeah, I mean, realistically, if there's a guy that could do it, it'd probably be him. But, just go ahead and kind of move on a little bit to the next question. It's a bit of a fun one. Favorite Pride card of all time, if any? This is more of I don't know how versed you are in your Pride knowledge. We're talking about the organization, not the, you know.
Oh, Josh, man, how did I? Sorry, I got confused. I got really
excited. Yeah, I know. I had to correct you. I had to make sure.
Oh man, I do have one. I had it saved. Funny enough.
If you don't have yours on the top of your head, I can go ahead and go.
Go ahead, and break it down a little bit while I'm listening.
All right, I'm happy to, Angel. Favorite Pride card, and maybe my favorite. It's probably not my favorite MMA card ever, but it's in the top 5. It's Pride Final Conflict 2005. That is the card that had Fedor Emelianenko versus Mirko Krokop for the heavyweight title. One of the greatest fights ever. But also that night, they had a couple of other fights. I mean, you had, Ricardo Arona versus Vanderlei, which was a banger. You had Tank Abbott losing to Yoshida easily in the first. Not a surprise there, but I think Tank Abbott only had a couple fights in Pride, so that's why it's memorable. But obviously the biggest one is Fedor Mirko Krokop, but also Shogun Rua. That was his arrival. That was his one-night tournament where he knocked out Overeem, he knocked out Ricardo Arona, and he also beat people previously in the tournament, like Little Nog and so on and so forth. So, and Rampage. So yeah, that's Pride Final Conflict 2005 is my pick. What about you, Angel?
So mine's a Pride Shockwave 2006, Josh. Fedor submits Mark Gunn with a Kimura. Also, like when we talk about like dogs, Josh, forgotten names on here, is Joaquin Hansen, dude, Hellboy, was submitted by Shinya Inoki that night. He did lose that fight, but that guy was a fucking dog. Kind of a forgotten name in history.
Yeah.
Probably one of the better Norwegian fighters to come out ever. Hasn't been a lot, and obviously Nogueira continuing his reign there. Gabriel Melendez was on that card against Kawajiri. Gummy was on that. One was soccer kicked. I'm sure plenty of people have seen that KO on seen that KO on Twitter or somewhere on the internet. So yeah, this is one of the ones that I've personally enjoyed.
Yeah, I looked it up right now. That's an all-timer too. That's an all-time great card. You got James Thompson on there. You love to see him, man.
Right.
Fujita.
God, you're not even wrong, dude. Pride column, the one you chose, 2005, fucking banger too.
Yeah. So there's a couple of really good ones, man.
There's a lot of ones. All the Final Conflict X are very good,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but a lot of newer fans, though, like you said, there's a couple of guys who've been lost like that, but there's a lot of guys, man, who have been lost to time, who are just Pride guys, WEC guys. They just never got the respect because they let UFC bottom out, and you're not going to pay. Like, why would you acknowledge those guys? They're the competition. So,
dude, my guy, Igor Vorvechin did.
This is actually a good question. It's like keeping within the same theme, but not exactly. Who is your favorite forgotten MMA fighter? Who is a guy that this isn't even one of the fan questions, but who do you fucking love that just nobody talks about?
Igor Vorvechin.
That's it? That's your guy?
Dude,
Igor?
Dude, the fact that he was 5'8", fighting against these heavyweights, which in modern time he probably would have ended up being a 185er. And he had almost 70 fights, Josh. That shit is so badass. I managed to see his first like 2 or 3 fights. I was able to watch him, and
Yeah.
he was putting. He wasn't just like taking these guys a distance, taking that dude. He was putting fuckers out. He made his debut in 1995, Josh. Like significantly before like any of these big promotions. And he was a Ukrainian guy too. Like it's just very like a cool thing to me. He like I said, he debuted in 95. He didn't make his Pride debut, Josh, until 1999.
Damn.
Yeah, like it was almost a whole 5 years later till he made his debut in Pride, and he had already had like 30 plus fights.
Damn, dude. Yeah, I mean he's a dog, dude. He's another one of those guys you never hear anybody talk about him.
But the other one was Joaquin Hansen, dude. Like completely lost to history. No one will ever remember him except me.
Yeah, nobody talks about him anymore. He was a fucking dog. I was literally thinking about him right now, looking at his wiki.
Yeah, dude, that guy chose violence every time.
Yeah, dude, just a fucking dog. Just a dog. I'd probably pick Spencer Fisher. Probably. He's an action fighter from that. I think he retired around like 2012 or something. Like he's not going to be added to the Hall of Fame. He's probably never. I mean, his trilogy with Sam Stout was insane, but I don't think he'll ever make the Hall of Fame for it. Just an all-time action guy, and a lot of those action guys, just some of them from the early days, just never. They didn't get to stay around, unfortunately. And Spencer Fisher's one of those guys, dude. Just a fucking dog. Like some of the most entertaining fights you've ever seen.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a bunch of guys like that.
Yeah. And just I mentioned it, shout out Sam Stout too. You obviously had the trilogy with him. KJ Noons is another one. Remember KJ Noons, Angel?
Mm-hmm.
Fucking love me some KJ Noons,
Little throwback name there too, dude. Holy shit.
I don't think he knocked out Nick Diaz. Beat Nick Diaz though. So back in Elite XC. I think he was also like something crazy, like 12-0 as a pro boxer. Like he's good, man. He's good. But anyways, I think it's about time to go ahead and move on. It's actually a very good question. Props to whoever asked this question. Better chance to win: Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury, or KSI versus Tommy Fury? Who has the better chance to win against the Fury brother?
Well, this one's very easy for me, Josh, and it has to be JJ.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it comes down to just experience, right? I mean, JJ and Tommy are significantly closer in experience in comparison to Francis and Tyson. Like the experience gap there is significantly bigger in comparison to JJ and Tommy. I think if you kind of break it down very simply.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I completely agree. It's a good question, but it is an obvious answer. I think KSI is because like I don't think he'll win either. I think he's probably going to get fucked up. But I think he's so wild. He does pack power. Like he's around. Like I can see there's a path to victory for him there. Well, not really, but I mean to hope to land a big shot. I give him a better chance of landing a big shot on Tommy, but I give a bigger chance of Ngannou than landing one on Tyson. And to kind of segue this into like another conversation, Francis Ngannou had his open workout yesterday, and we kind of talked about this briefly in the green room. He did a little bit of sparring with our boy Carlos Takam, former heavyweight title challenger. What did you make of it, man? I saw very differing opinions online coming out of this open workout.
I mean, it's an open workout, man. What can you take from it? Obviously, not to be disrespectful, but you really can't take a lot from it. I mean, you can only take bits, and at the same time, this is a 42-year-old Carlos Takam. You know what I mean? And it is heavyweight; guys do last longer, and he has been around quite some time. And obviously, I'm sure there's a lot that he's teaching him, a lot that he's probably explained. But the thing is, it's like, what is there? What the fuck? Carlos Takam fought Fabio Maldonado? Holy shit! I just found that out. That was so random.
Well, Fabio Maldonado was like something crazy. Like he started out 24 as a pro boxer or something.
That's wild. I just found that out today.
Yeah, he didn't find anybody good, but still,
Regardless, though, I mean, yeah, and there's from sparring and footage and hitting pads. What can you take? You know what I mean? You can't take a lot.
Yeah. All right, fair enough.
But he looks all right. I mean, to put it simply, I think he looks just all right. But with anything like this, Josh, you can't take a lot from it. I think he's just looking all right. I mean, I don't think he looks significantly great. I don't think he looks bad either. I think he just looks okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it. He looks okay. He does not look that great. He looks kind of slow, but I try not to take too many. Like for example, he looked slow in one of the clips of Tyson kind of directing him, right hand to the body, like go, just like he was coaching him up, and it was like a pretty cool clip, but he did look pretty slow. But at the same time, I saw people roasting that, and it's like, who knows when that clip was taken? How deep into the training session was that? Like you mentioned, there's not a whole lot you can really take away, but it was pretty cool to see him being coached up by Mike and seeing him get to do a little bit of sparring.
Also, he's training. He's not fucking going at 1,000% either,
Yeah, exactly. And we are just a month away.
Yeah.
So we are only a month out.
That's wild.
But John Fury went ahead and said, God help him. It's a disgrace about he roasted Ngannou's pad work. So, we will see. In terms of how well he does. We're only a month out though, so not a whole lot of changes he'll be able to make in that time frame. But yeah, man, interesting stuff. To kind of close out that fan question. Yeah, I give KSI much of a better chance. I don't honestly give him like a 20% chance of beating Tommy. 1 in 5. Not great, but I'd give Ngannou a 1 in 100 of beating Tyson. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, man. Next up, this is a quick question. This is a Twitter one. Somebody DM'd us. They just asked about how do you do the production side of your podcast.
Not like I said, Josh. Not very well. I'm being quite honest. It probably could be better, but we do the best we can.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're not great. We are. We're getting better, I think. In terms of we handle our stuff through like Podbean. I recommend if you're somebody who's trying to start a podcast, go through Podbean or somebody like that who will distribute your podcast for you, typically for like a really small fee. If you pay them, or sometimes they'll do it for free. It's much easier than doing it yourself and trying to, set it up on every single fucking website. But yeah, man, I mean, I don't have too many big, things to say, honestly. Like, we do it through Podbean. In terms of our recording stuff, Angel, this is a fun time to say that we're hopefully soon, within the next couple of months, we'll have either we'll move to recording and have like a video version of the podcast, and we'll just be doing it like, from our own homes and like over Skype or Zoom or whatever it may be. But you'll be able to see us. Either we're going to go ahead and do that soon, or we're going to have even, in person, me and Angel filming our own whole new setup. So our production side of the podcast will be changing within the next couple of months. But for right now, I mean, it's pretty simple, not too much to say. But, yeah, man, I mean, that's basically it. In terms of production, if any sponsors out there want to help us get a new setup,
you can reach out.
You can reach out. All of our information is available on YouTube and our Courtside Soundoff website. So please go ahead and feel free to get in contact if you do want to go ahead and sponsor the show, because we do have 2 fantastic ones right now, but we will go ahead and keep it moving. All right now, we'll go ahead and get some new sponsors if anyone wants to go ahead and help out. So, yeah. Anyways, man, that's about all I got for this one. And this is going to be the last question. This is one that somebody on TikTok said. Angel, quick thoughts. Kansas City native, or how happy are you with Travis Kelce dating Taylor Swift? Quick thoughts.
I'm indifferent. I'm gonna hurt some people here. I'm indifferent.
You don't care about it, Angel?
No, Josh, I don't.
You fucking monster.
Like I told you earlier, Josh, I can't wait till they break up and she writes a song about it.
I gotta be honest, dude. You know, like, maybe, what if they don't break up, Angel? What if, like, they end up getting married and having kids, you know? Like,
I mean, good for them, dude.
you go down to Power and Light, you see fucking Taylor Swift, you know? Like,
shit, I mean, it'll be nice I'm sure there'll be more, Taylor Swift concerts in Kansas if that were to happen.
that's true. So I know you're thrilled about it, but
I don't call myself. I'm not a Swiftie personally, but for those.
You're not a Swiftie? Damn it, dude! I thought this whole time that you were.
Oh, no.
I've got to ask you if you wanted to go buy tickets for the next time she's in town, man. But I guess it'll just be me out there.
Right.
No, I'm joking. But the only thing I have to add about this Taylor Swift Travis Kelce thing is I think it's so fucking funny. Because I've seen Travis, and I said this to you, before we started filming, but I've seen Travis Kelce play football every Sunday in the fall for like a decade now. And he's always out there being fucking crazy, getting into fights, just doing crazy shit. And then on Sunday, Taylor Swift is there, and he's shy as shit. He's waving to the box, It's like, bro, I saw you fight a guy in practice 2 months ago. Like, what the fuck? But, yeah, that's the only thing I have to add to it. I think it's pretty funny. I saw that picture came out of, him driving her around downtown Kansas City. I'm like, dude, she's getting to go through what I go through every day now. Like, oh yeah, that road's closed. Fucking that road's closed. This is under construction, Like, she got the whole experience, But yeah, that's the my only thoughts on it. Although apparently Travis Kelce, his jersey sales are up 400%. So if anybody wants to buy my Travis Kelce jersey for way more than the original asking price, just go ahead and hit me up. So,
by the way, do you even have a Mahomes jersey right now?
I do. I have, well, kind of, but not really. I have like a Mahomes shirt jersey. It's one of those.
Okay.
That's like, yeah. It's kind of like a jersey, but it doesn't have this. It's not made of the same material. It's just some bullshit,
It's just not the same. If I'm being honest,
it's not the same. But I do have an actual legit Kelce Super Bowl jersey from 2020. So.
Ooh, look at you died.
I know. Big deal. But anyways, man, I think that's all we got for fan questions. So we'll go ahead and close it out with some news and a couple of fight announcements. That's pretty much most of this section, man. UFC 296 got beefed up, Angel. We got a couple fight announcements that we knew, and we got a couple that we did not know about. Leon Edwards and Colby Covington will headline UFC 296 in December. Alexander Pantoja versus Brandon Royval for the flyweight title has been added to that event. And then we got also 2 executions. It's just, I mean, maybe one of these will be competitive. I think one of these will be competitive. The other one will be an execution. Not Leon Edwards, obviously. Shavkat, who we've talked about a lot about. We see him as a future champion. We see him as a future guy challenging Leon Edwards, challenging Colby Covington. Well, he's been trying to get a big name. He's gotten it. He's going to face Stephen Wonderboy Thompson in December. This one came out of nowhere. Wonderboy was talking about fighting Kamaru Usman. He will now take on Shavkat, and the potential winner will face the winner of Leon and Colby. Dude, what do you think about this one, man? Really came out of nowhere. Biggest fight of Shavkat's career. If Wonderboy gets a win here, it would be fucking massive. And it'd be a massive upset. What do you think about it?
Look, I mean, there's been a lot of kind of conversation of this match of people kind of some happy, some upset, some excited, some not. But rankings-wise, Josh, oddly, I think it makes sense. I mean, I think if I'm looking at it right now, Shavkat's number 6, Wonderboy's 7. I mean, it's fair game, right? Like, as much as people might want to hate on it. And Shavkat did look a little human in his last fight. Wonderboy is looking for a fight, is older, but needs to take on one of these names up here and fight regardless the younger guy. Obviously, he did fight a younger guy in Gilbert Burns, didn't go his way. He's fighting another young guy in Shavkat who's looking extremely dangerous. And also, Josh, another thing we got to think about is Shavkat's finished every single one of his opponents he's fought. Scary as fuck to even say that. But Wonderboy's only been finished once in his career is by Anthony Pettis with Superman Punch. So Shavkat does have his work cut out, man. I mean, Wonderboy's still a very fucking game. So I think matchup-wise, I think it's good. I think we should be happy for both Wonderboy and Shavkat. It's time. We got to get the ball rolling in this division and maybe even move out some of these younger guys. Or if not move them out, help them go forward in a division so that later on maybe they can move on.
Mm. Yeah, and like you said, as much as some people were saying, like, I hate this matchup, I said I said there's 2 executions. This is a fight that I think may not be. Like, Wonder Boy, especially if the fight is going to be on the feet, and I think Shavkat, he may take this one to the ground, but I also think he probably wants to test himself a bit. I wouldn't be surprised if it stays on the feet for a minute. Wonder Boy on the feet is still excellent, and you saw that against Kevin Holland. You see that he's still, if he has the right matchup on the right night, he can still be competitive with the best of them. I don't think he'll win this fight, but matchup-wise and rankings-wise, it does make sense. And Wonder Boy said that he wanted to prove that he can, go. He said that he wanted one last run to the title, and he said he's getting paid really well for this one. So, you can't really be mad at it. I am mad about this next fight announcement. Because I said they should have made this fight, but I said they should make this fight like 2 years ago at this point. Paddy the Baddy Pimblett will return in December at UFC 296 to face El Kukui, Tony Ferguson, who has lost his last 5 fights, Angel, and none of them really have been very competitive. Last loss to Bobby Green earlier this summer. Look, what do you think? What do you? I don't know what to say about this one. What do you think, Angel?
It's both good and bad, man. It's I think for Paddy, it's good because he gets to fight a big name and be out there on a big card again. But bad for Tony because he's having a rough time, man. It's probably, he shouldn't be fighting a younger guy. He should be fighting older guys. They've been decreasing his competition, Josh. Bobby Green, as far as like lower at the end 155ers that are still pretty elite. I'd say Bobby Green's probably the cutoff. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And funnily enough, I think Paddy should have probably fought Bobby Green to begin with. I think originally I wanted him to fight the winner of Drew Dober, Bobby Green, and that would have been a good matchup. Didn't end up happening if he wasn't going to fight Jared Gordon again or whatever. But I thought Matt Frivola, Bobby Green, and God, it just says his name, Drew Dober were all good matchups. That made sense. They were leading into the rankings. So they went to Tony Ferguson. I still think those fights do make sense, but funny enough, all those guys are booked. Even Bobby Green. So I can't be too mad, I guess, because I guess none of those matchups were even available to begin with, maybe, or they had already been planned out or whatever. So I guess this is the next option. But if we're looking forward, Josh, they want to use Paddy to fight, I guess now, probably some relevant names, but I guess he did fight Jared Gordon, so you can make an argument that maybe then why didn't they give him someone else who was kind of on a Jared Gordon level as far as name was? I don't know, but I guess they're trying to maybe maximize Paddy now, or they want to kind of get the push on him.
Yeah, that's what I would assume, is they're about to start kicking off the Paddy push again. Yeah, I don't know what to say about this, man. Like you said, this fight would have made sense a year or two ago, whenever Paddy was first coming up and kind of moving towards he hadn't started facing guys who were like on the pathway to the rankings. But a guy like Jared Gordon is already that. And he's already beaten. I think a guy like Jared Gordon would easily beat, Tony Ferguson today, let alone, having Paddy fight him. So it's terrible. I gotta be honest. It's downright bad. I see some people who are like, maybe Tony will pull it out. He's only faced good competition, but it's about how he's looked, At first, I was one of those people for his first 2 or 3 or 4 losses. I'm like, well, he has faced good people, but these last 2 against Nate and Bobby Green, he has not even looked like Tony Ferguson out there. You know what I mean? He doesn't look like the same person.
Yeah.
And then combining that with the DUI that happened recently, or earlier this year, it's like, man, I don't want to see Tony fighting anymore, man. Especially not against a guy like Paddy. I think Paddy's probably just going to run through him if I had to guess. And that's so upsetting that I'll have to live in a world where Paddy Pimblett beats Tony Ferguson. You know that? That's the world I'll have to fucking live in.
Josh, how can I wake up in the fucking morning, dude, and be okay with myself?
For real, how can I look at myself in the mirror the morning after UFC 296 and not just feel utter shame and guilt for being an MMA fan? You know what I mean? It's just, how can I do that? Just so upsetting. But that's the last. I mean, that's all I got to say about it. We did get another fight announcement. This one's at least like, this is a banger of a fight announcement. So, it's the exact, we're going from one extreme to the other. Alex Pereira and Yuri Prochazka will face off at UFC 294 for the vacant light heavyweight title. We've seen this discussed and rumored for a long time. We finally have a date and an event. Give me your thoughts on this one. Was this the right fight to make, so on and so forth?
For what fight? I'm sorry. You said a Yuri and Alex, right?
Yeah.
All right, sorry. For some reason I didn't hear you.
No,
fuck, I mean, are we surprised though?
Nah.
Like, we kind of knew they were going to this direction. We kind of knew they wanted to go this way. It's not a surprise. If it wasn't going to be Ankalaev, it was going to be Pereira. Let's not act surprised. This is the way they were going to go. Does Ankalaev even have a fight announced or anything yet? Do we even know? Is he still?
No.
He's still MIA.
He's still MIA.
You got him.
Talk about a guy just fucking up his own career. Jesus.
I mean, granted, Josh, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors negotiating. Actually, he does have a fight announced, Josh. UFC 294, Johnny Walker. I forgot I saw this a week ago.
Oh, really? That's official.
That's official, yeah. I just had to do some quick little research. But yeah, I mean, shit. I mean, that's for the title next, right? I mean, talk about a number one contender fight, right? They're getting right in line, so Alex Pereira and Yuri Prochazka will know their next opponent here in a few weeks. Isn't that kind of scary? There's a few times in when you fight where you kind of know that's going to happen, and I wonder if that's kind of like, well, you're focused on the task ahead, but immediately not too long after you know what's next.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I just hope the light heavyweight division gets moving, man. I mean, it's been, ever since John Jones left the division,
I mean, it is. It's about to, Josh. I mean, we see it here with this fight. It's going to happen.
No. I know what's supposed to happen.
Josh, it's supposed to happen, but it's not happening.
I have like PTSD from the light heavyweight division, just consistently just fucking crazy.
Well, from the looks of it, it looks like we're about to start moving in the right direction.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, this is the fight to make. Obviously, light heavyweight title fight to make. No, there's not really surprising. It is what it is. But yeah, man, it was the right fight to make, and I'm excited for it. And dude, UFC 294 is going to be their biggest event, in a long time, And by UFC 294, I think I've been saying UFC 294. I mean fucking UFC 295. I mean UFC 295. In case I'm not being clear enough. The Jones Miocic card in November. Just to be clear. That'll be an absolutely insane card. Going down in MSG. I'm not sure if you've seen the tickets for that one, Angel. Like, the starting ticket prices are like $600 or something.
No, I know. They're insane.
Yeah. Fucking crazy. But, anyways, man. Next up. This is a disappointing one. Admittedly, two things. Didn't know this was still going. I also didn't. I'm not really surprised with the way that it went. UFC 200 went down 7 years ago. Over 7 years ago, Mark Hunt lost to Brock Lesnar. That fight was later overturned, and he later sued the UFC, alleging that they let Brock Lesnar fight, knowing that he was on banned substances. This obviously has to do with the USADA waiver that he was given, which, funny enough, Conor McGregor has not gotten over this year. Mark Hunt sued the UFC for 7 years, which just shows the slow pace of the justice system. They were in court. Mark Hunt lost his lawsuit officially yesterday to the UFC, Brock Lesnar, and Dana White. Not really surprising, Angel. Give me your memories of this whole situation, because I'm sure that you completely forgot this was happening, because admittedly, so did I.
I mean, it's been like randomly brought up for a while, because it's been going on for quite some time, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, how long? Do you have any idea how long it's been going on?
I mean, the fight happened in 2016. He started suing him the following year, so 6 years. A 6-year law case. So
all for nothing, right? Like it's just absolute for nothing. I mean, what can you say? I mean, disappointing for him, right? Obviously unhappy, but I wonder what the ruling was. Like, what exactly led to the decision of them not going in his favor? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wonder, like, what justification they gave by not, by him not winning it, or what the reason he didn't win it. What led to the the inevitable decision they had on that day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Yeah. Like I went ahead and said, it is what it is. Not very surprised he lost this one, and he's probably gonna have to pay the UFC a shit ton of money in court fees. So, I mean, I don't. I honestly feel bad for him because he had a lot of bad people in the space who were cheering this on, and the entire time I'm like, guys, like, use your fucking heads. Like, he's going to lose this case. There's no real, like, even the worst case scenario for the UFC, you know, it's really hard to prove, and he was never going to be able to prove it. And he had a lot of people cheering him on who were like, yeah, fuck the UFC. And it's like, I'm like, you know, same case, guys, but it's just, let's also use our heads here. And now Marcon's probably going to have to pay, like, you know, $400,000. Last time I saw it was like upwards of $400,000 back to the UFC, not including the legal fees he would have already had to pay. So that fucking sucks. So, but yeah, man, sucks for Marcon.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a brief topic. Jake Hager, former WWE champion Jack Swagger, had an MMA career.
Jack Swagger.
Yeah, I know, the one and only. You know, the All-American Jack Swagger, also known as Jake Hager, had a couple fights in Bellator, went undefeated. We haven't seen him since 2020, and he was doing a Q&A recently, and somebody asked him if he was going to fight again, and he said, no, I'm retired, quote, Bellator was jerking me off. So, I thought that was a reason to stay around, but apparently Jake Hager is deciding to retire. What are your thoughts on this, man? I mean, obviously, the retirement of a legend. I mean, we make reference to Jake Hager all the time on this show.
Yeah, on a pretty regular basis. You're not wrong. What can you say, man? I mean, it is what it is. I guess.
What's your favorite Jake Hager memory, Angel? In the
Josh,
case?
I got a phoner. I'm rock hard with emotion right now.
Yeah, that's the only thing I basically remember from his MMA fights, honestly.
Well, and also him calling out Fedor, right? Like, that shit was funny.
He called out Fedor for a while. For like a year he was trying to get that fight too. So that sucks for Jake Hager. Hey man, I thought he was gonna, you know, do more in MMA. You know, he's an Oklahoma boy, you know, has the record for most pins in Oklahoma history. Like, not Oklahoma State, but like, you know, for the University of Oklahoma, I guess I should say. Yeah, man. So, that sucks though.
I guess the fights probably didn't end up coming into fruition.
Yeah, that's what I assume. Also, this is really, really off topic, Angel, but KSI and Misfits are officially, they're box rec official. I'm not sure if you've kept up with the drama of him and Jake Paul, but it just came onto my feed right now. KSI versus Tommy Fury, and that entire card is on box rec. It's officially box rec official, Angel.
How about that?
I know. I'm not sure if you've seen all the controversy of him and Jake Paul going back and forth. He's like, hey, I'm on box rec. You're not. You know? I guess. I see
it. I just looked at it right now. It's on here.
That's crazy, right?
Logan's on here. Everybody's on here now. Saul Poppy's on there now too. Slim. It's so weird because it has all their real names. Like, you see Swarms on here. Brandon Scott, you know? Winterson Nunes.
Good for them, though. Good for them. Yeah, we didn't really talk about Misfits, but what do you think about Salt Poppy versus Slim being announced?
Fucking finally, dude. They were able to get him paid.
Yeah. I'm so excited for that fight, man. That's gonna be the best fight of the night, probably.
I mean, we got Waleed Sharks versus our boy Dean the Great. I mean, that's another one.
You're right. That's another one.
We've been waiting, what is it, over a year for that now?
Yeah.
Something like that.
We're waiting for a while. But,
dude, what about what the fuck, Josh? Fight Circus just signed our boy Ben Davis.
Yeah, Ben Davis is signed by Fight Circus. We'll see who he's gonna fight.
What the fuck?
But yeah, I mean, I think we should go ahead and move on. This is our last topic of the day. Canelo Alvarez will be taking on. This is the only real combat this week. Canelo Alvarez will be taking on Jermell Charlo. this Saturday night in Vegas. This is going to be the first time in boxing history that two undisputed male champions face off. Charlo is moving up not one but two weight classes for this one, which is, like 10 pounds, but it's more like 14, but still. What do you think about this fight, man? Obviously, Canelo is a huge favorite coming off a win over John Ryder in May. Charlo has not fought in over a year, coming up two weight classes. What do you think about it?
Dude, I'm excited. It's a banger. Truly testing himself. I gotta give him credit. By the way, I'll never forget that Jason Rosario fight that started off very weirdly, but he ended up closing out. I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember that, yeah.
Yeah, that one was, I remember that. Jason Rosario, that guy came out of nowhere too, which was another awesome story in boxing in itself. Beating Julian Williams back in 2020. Pre-COVID. That was in January. Holy shit. Mm-hmm. And then during COVID, and then losing to Jermaine Shaw at the end of the year. What a fucking 8 months later, right? And your whole life just changes.
Right.
Hey, that's the game these guys play, man. But, big test for him. A lot of challenges ahead. Canelo trying to get his 60th professional win on the night, Josh. Tall task ahead. No easy fights in his career at all now going forward. I'm excited. I mean, I can't believe that's literally upon us right here, right now. Like it's literally this weekend. We've needed, like, the John Ryder one, yeah, it was sick. The lights were, Gennady, whatever. But this is a big fight. Like, there's truly, there's something on the line here. This is like B-Ball. This is Caleb Plant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is Billy Joe Saunders. Like, this is a name
This is fucking history, Angel. That's what it is. It's fucking history.
When you said that, I like to think is that, on ESPN after how they show fighters after they lose, and they showed like Loma and Oscar Valdez, and he's like, this is not a movie. This is not a TV show. This is real life. This is actually happening. If you know what I'm referring to.
But yeah, dude. I mean, hey, jokes aside, it is history, dude. First time in boxing history that two undisputed champions that are male that will face off. Admittedly, I love me some Jermell Charlo. For a while there, it wasn't clear who the better brother was. I think Jermell. Huh?
But then you found out.
Yeah, I mean, Jermell's technically the one with a loss on his record, but Jermall, he hasn't fought in over 2 years. He's been doing who knows what.
He's got some personal issues going on.
Yeah, meanwhile, Jermell is just carving out a fucking legacy for himself, man, down to light middleweight. So, I think Canelo's going to get the win, obviously, but Jermell is a dog for stepping up. Because originally he was supposed to be Jermall, but due to those personal issues, Jermell got the nod. He's moving up 2 weight classes for this one. I mean, you got to give him all the props in the world, man. So, I'm going to go ahead and pick Canelo here, but I'm excited to see it, man. Like you said, the John Ryder fight was, it was kind of a gimme, in his home country. Fucking the Gennady fight, we kind of knew the case there. It was basically for him to go out there, get paid, close out the trilogy. Everybody knew it was going to happen. This one, it's going to be compelling. It's going to be competitive. I'm excited to see it. Any closing thoughts on this or anything else before we go and bounce out of here, man?
No, I mean, I think we covered everything really well, man. I'm just excited to come back next week, get into previewing fights. October is going to be a massive month, Josh, for MMA, Bellator 300, UFC 294, right? And then some good little mixed-in cards in there, some other boxing going down in the month. Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury. Let's get it. Not all next week, but all happening next month, leading into next week. Let's get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Super, super excited. October. Guys, I'm not sure. I don't know if we'll do anything fun. Halloween coming up, obviously. Biggest fucking month for the show in a while, man. I mean, we talked about it. Fury and Ngannou, the Prime card, UFC 294. I'm sure there's some other shit I'm missing in there. Bellator 300, obviously. That's another one. We got to recap Canelo, Charlo. October is the month. The fall is here, and we're at it, man. Let's fucking go. And hope you guys stick around. I'm at Josh Evanoff on Twitter. He's at Angel Ortega _01 at Courtside Soundoff for all things related to the show. Hope you guys keep on enjoying, man. We appreciate it so much. Just hit 1,200 subs, so we appreciate that as always. So peace and butt grease. Mouse clip.